Deuteronomy 14. We are at a chapter all about how the Israelites are God's favorite people, the rules about eating, and tithing. And if your first thought is, wait a minute, haven't we done this before? Yes. 90% of the Bible is just a retelling of previous parts of the Bible. And the entire Bible is just a retelling of previous religious myths. It's all very derivative. You are the children of the Lord your God. Do not cut yourselves or shave the front of your heads for the dead, for you are a people holy to the Lord your God. Out of all the peoples on the face of the earth, the Lord has chosen you to be his treasured possession. Got that, people with a unibrow? If you tweeze or shave the middle, you're going to hell. This makes it sound like inducing blood on your own forehead was something these people did as an act of mourning, which means their reaction to death was, I want in. Do not eat any detestable thing. These are the animals you may eat: the ox, the sheep, the goat, the deer, the gazelle, the roe deer, the wild goat, the ibex, the antelope, and the mountain sheep. You may eat any animal that has a divided hoof and that chews the cud. However, of those that chew the cud or that have a divided hoof, you may not eat the camel, the rabbit, or the hyrax. Although they chew the cud, they do not have a divided hoof. They are ceremonially unclean for you. The pig is also unclean. Although it has a divided hoof, it does not chew the cud. You are not to eat their meat or touch their carcasses. If your rules are immediately followed by a list of exceptions, then just change the rules. No one's gonna remember this. And the irony, of course, is that no one today really eats ox or goat or the ibex, but they love bacon. I'm gonna repeat what I said in Leviticus 11. The hyrax and the rabbit do not technically chew cud. The classification system here makes no sense. Of all the creatures living in the water, you may eat any that has fins and scales, but anything that does not have fins and scales you may not eat. For you it is unclean. These people don't know the classifications of everything that lives in the sea. Even today, we don't know everything that's in the sea, which means God is telling them to catch what they can and then take a look at the fins and scales to see if it's on the list. It's so much more work. And why does God hate shrimp? You may eat any clean bird, but these you may not eat: the eagle, the vulture, the black vulture, the red kite, the black kite, any kind of falcon, any kind of raven, the horned owl, the screech owl, the gull, any kind of hawk, the little owl, the great owl, the white owl, the desert owl, the osprey, the cormorant, the stork, any kind of heron, the hoopoe, and the bat. Oh my God, no one's gonna remember any of this. Second, the bat is still not a bird, it's a mammal. And also, how are people catching these birds? They couldn't even find water or food for the longest time. Can't someone just open up a restaurant in the promised land and take care of the restrictions in the menu? Stop making me think about it. All flying insects are unclean to you. Do not eat them. But any winged creature that is clean, you may eat. Pass. Do not want to eat anything with wings. And I did not need a warning about the flying insects. I was just gonna ease them out of my diet anyway. Do not eat anything you find already dead. You may give it to the foreigner residing in any of your towns, and they may eat it, or you may sell it to any other foreigner. But you are a people holy to the Lord your God. Do not cook a young goat in its mother's milk. At this point, they're just throwing every rule into the pile, aren't they? And I thought we were supposed to treat foreigners well. So if a dead animal is unworthy of being eaten, why are we giving it to the foreigners? Why are we making them pay for the thing we don't even want? And thank you for the tip about not murdering a baby goat in its mother's fluids, which you know they only threw in because some idiot started to do that and it was getting out of hand. Apparently, if you want to murder a young goat, just cook it in another woman's milk. Problem solved. Be sure to set aside 1/10 of all that your fields produce each year. Eat the tithe of your grain, new wine, and olive oil, and the firstborn of your herds and flocks in the presence of the Lord your God at the place he will choose as a dwelling for his name, so that you may learn to revere the Lord your God always. But if that place is too distant, and you have been blessed by the Lord your God and cannot carry your tithe, because the place where the Lord will choose to put his name is so far away, then exchange your tithe for silver, and take the silver with you and go to the place the Lord your God will choose. Use the silver to buy whatever you like, cattle, sheep, wine, or other fermented drink, or anything you wish. Then you and your household shall eat there in the presence of the Lord your God and rejoice. And do not neglect the Levites living in your towns, for they have no allotment or inheritance of their own. They have to set aside food for God and eat it in front of God. But if God's far away, then they can't eat it. Then they have to sell it and use the money to buy other food and then eat it while God watches, even though I thought he was far away, which is why I thought we had to go through this entire hassle. I will say, I appreciate that God is telling us to take our tithes, get some cash for it, and then get completely wasted with wine and other fermented drinks. God's like the cool mom hosting a high school party. You know, it sounds like someone at the temple will have to exchange the tithes for money. They're called money changers, and usually they get a bad reputation in the Bible. But here, they are absolutely necessary. At the end of every 3 years, bring all the tithes of that year's produce and store it in your towns, so that the Levites, who have no allotment or inheritance of their own, and the foreigners, the fatherless, and the widows who live in your towns may come and eat and be satisfied, and so that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. You know those people who were not given God's blessings directly? Make sure they can eat your 3-year-old food. They'll love it. It is one thing to repeat all the rules we've heard before, but it's wild that we're just keeping the mistakes in there, like the bat is a bird thing. They had so much time to revise this stuff, but again, no one's editing any of this. The Bible is many things. Infallible is not one of them.